Hey, what's going on, guys? Butterbar here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you cannot hear the excitement, the enthusiasm that I have on my voice, dude, I am pumped, man. If you guys don't know, Resident Evil 3, the remake, got a trailer today. Dude, it looks awesome. It looks beautiful. As somebody that is a fan of Resident Evil games, as somebody that is a huge fan of Resident Evil 2, the remake, dude, oh my god, April 3rd cannot come soon enough. And the fact that it's an April 3rd game, dude, all of next year is packed. We got Doom Eternal, we got Resident Evil 3 remake, and even the Predator game got announced today, and a trailer got announced for that. Dude, 2020 is looking like the year of the video game. It's insane to know of how many great games are actually coming out next year. Literally, the very beginning of 2020 looks like it's going to be stacked with really great games coming out. Now, the reason why I'm super excited about Resident Evil 3, I'm a huge fan of the Resident Evil series, but Resident Evil 3, when I was a little kid back in the 90s, was by far my favorite game. Not only because it was a zombie game, and as a little kid, zombies were like the thing, but the action. Resident Evil 3 did a really great thing when it came to the survival horror of the Resident Evil series. Like, as you guys know, Resident Evil has been known for that survival series. Resident Evil 1 and 2 did it very well. Even this remake that you're watching gameplay right now did a fantastic job of being able to deliver a survival horror game, being able to manage your weapons, being able to manage your health, manage your inventory and the environment around you, the enemies around you. They did a great job of being able to do that. Now, Resident Evil 3 continued upon that with not only the survival horror, but it actually is just a little bit more action-packed than Resident Evil 2. It kind of rides the line between how action-packed Resident Evil 4 was and the survival horror that Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 1 have. Now, it looks like from the trailer, my god, again, they're taking kind of the steps that Resident Evil 2 took. I'm imagining it's the exact same engine that they're using, and an expansion on what happened outside the Raccoon City Police Department. That's always been my biggest thing. I think that's the reason why I liked Resident Evil 3 so much. Is you know what? I know the story of what happened in the Raccoon City Police Department. I know exactly what happened with Leon and Claire. But that is just a literal tiny piece. That is a little piece of the chaos that happened outside of Raccoon City. That's just a little piece of what type of storylines happen while Leon and Claire are venturing off in the police department. Now, you follow Jill Valentine and Carlos Oliveira, who is a Umbrella operative, and Jill Valentine, who's a Star operative, or a Star police officer from the first Resident Evil game that survived the Spencer Mansion, and you actually get to go around Raccoon City and actually see the chaos that's unfolding. Now, in the old game in Resident Evil 3, they did a pretty good job. You actually did get to see a little bit more characteristic of the city. You got to see the downfall and exactly what happened during the time of the zombie outbreak. The one thing that I really hope that the remake does that Resident Evil 3 back in the 90s really didn't do is kind of show the breakdown of the very beginning, like the steps leading up to the total chaos of Raccoon City and what led to everything. Now, I love the intro video to Resident Evil 3 back in the 90s. If you guys have actually seen the intro to Resident Evil 3's game and the chaos of the police department, the police officers, as well as the Umbrella operatives that were actually sent into Raccoon City to try to contain the spread of the zombies and whatnot, that intro clip is amazing, and it definitely set the standard and set the tone for what Resident Evil 3 was going to offer. I hope that same intro, I hope the same chaos that intro in Resident Evil back in the 90s, I hope that sets the same tone for this game. I really hope we get to see something like that, or hell, even partake in that type of intro, get to partake in the defense of a perimeter of so many, just the onslaught of zombies that attack the barricades and whatnot. It's one of those things of looking back as a kid in the 90s and thinking, man, this game is a really great game. How can it get better? How can it, dude? And the fact now that Resident Evil 2, the remake, I would say is a little bit better than the original back in the 90s. There's some stuff that I actually enjoyed about the 90s, but the remake is definitely, it's beautiful. The fact that they're going to do the exact same thing to Resident Evil 3 just has my hopes up tremendously. Now, again, like I said, the graphics look amazing. The fact that you're going to be able to traverse more of the Raccoon City, actual city streets is one thing that has me excited, just because you barely get to see a little bit of that in the very beginning. playing of Resident Evil 2. My understanding is that it's actually going to, this game is supposed to be more action-packed, at least from the devs actually did a little YouTube video. It was like a 5-minute long video, and there's just a little snippet of saying this is going to be riding that line between the survival horror that Resident Evil 2 did and just a little bit more action-packed than Resident Evil 3. So if that if that is something that floats your boat, if that's something as you're watching the Resident Evil 2 gameplay with a little bit of the trailer in between the gameplay and showing you some of the stuff that, you know, tickles your fancy, if that's something you want to get into, I'm going to tell you right now, you ain't going to be let down. I honest to God think, for the fact of how well they did Resident Evil 2, I think Resident Evil 3 is going to be really good. Again, I'm really interested in the storyline. I think Resident Evil 3 did a great job of being able to continue the storyline of what's happening to Jill, and also the storyline of what's happening in Raccoon City and the devastation that's happening, and also too with the Nemesis, adding the Nemesis in. Look, Resident Evil 2, if you haven't played it, I don't want to spoil it, so I do apologize if I'm spoiling it for somebody that hasn't played it yet, but you have a tyrant. You have Mr. X actually following you throughout the Raccoon City Police Department, and it's this big, massive monster that literally, as you're walking through the police department, he is following you every step of the way at certain points in the game, and it definitely makes you think on how are you going to traverse the police department. How are you going to be able to manage your navigation around? So not only are you navigating, you know, around zombies or lickers, or, you know, just trying to figure out where the hell you want to go. You're managing your ammo, your weapons, trying to make sure you don't run out of ammo, but also now you have Mr. X following you around the entire time that you're playing in the police department. Now with Resident Evil 3, and you have this entire city as your background, as your playground, I want to know how in the world is the Nemesis, the new Mr. X of Resident Evil 3, how is that going to play out? It's very interesting. Even again in the dev video, they talked about how different ways that the Nemesis is going to be able to track Jill Valentine. So Jill Valentine is going to be tracked by the Nemesis. To the people that know exactly what happens in the Resident Evil 3 game back in the 90s, you know who's going to end up dead. You know exactly how intense it's going to get once the Nemesis actually shows up. So how much is it going to work like Mr. X in Resident Evil 2? I don't know, but it will be one thing that I'm interested to see, not only how that works out, how the gunplay is going to be working out, how is going to be the management of items, because again in Resident Evil 2 the item management was just, man, I'll say this. This game is extremely stressful. Resident Evil 2 is extremely stressful as a video game. When you beat it though, and you get, certain times, certain grades, you unlock certain weapons that have unlimited ammo. Once you do that, man, this game's awesome. This game's a shooter for me. This is an action-adventure shooter once you have infinite ammo. But before you do that, it's a very stressful trying to figure out what the hell you want to do. And again, I want that anticipation. I want that in Resident Evil 3 where it's stressful, but once you start completing it, once you know exactly what the hell you're doing, and also hopefully there's some pretty good unlocks towards the end of the game once you start beating it on certain difficulties and certain times, man, I really do hope the rewards are really good. So guys, I wanted to push out this video. Again, I'm super excited. If you guys cannot hear my voice, Resident Evil is just a passionate thing to me. It's something as a little kid that I grew up with. It's just something that in my heart is just something that I had a lot of fun as a kid. I mean, hell, I remember dressing up and playing with toy guns, thinking I was, Leon Kennedy or Chris Redfield or any of this stuff as a little kid. So the fact that, as a grown adult and we get to play these games remade and remastered and looking great, feeling great, it's just one of those things that it's bringing a smile to my face. And honestly, there's games out there that I think all of us are like, man, I can't wait. I'm anticipating, I'll say this as an example, Modern Warfare. I was anticipating the game. I thought the game was going to be good. I was anticipating that Modern Warfare, type of nostalgia, and the game let me down. And that was a heartbreak that I think a lot of people were feeling. Now, when Resident Evil 2 got announced, I think it was like last year because it came out, I believe, in February of this year, of 2019. I was not only anticipating it, but when the game came out, it blew me away, and it was just one of those games that, still to this day, is something that I can play and not be bored from it. Even though no matter how many times I play the Resident Evil 2 game, it's something that I don't feel bored from it whatsoever. There's not a whole lot of games out there that make me feel that way. There's not a whole lot of games out there on the market where I'm like, man, I am bored as hell playing this game. Resident Evil 2 is not like that, and I do imagine that Resident Evil 3 will be the exact same way. And I hope it is. I really do hope it is. You know, with a short announcement time that, you know, it's just going to be it was just announced today in a trailer and it's releasing in April. It's a short time frame, but if they're doing the exact same thing, if they're using the same engine that Resident Evil 2 did, I don't think we're going to be disappointed, and it looks like a lot of great stuff is going to be included in this. And again, if you're somebody like me that enjoyed Resident Evil 3, I think this is going to be the game for us come next year, come April. One other thing, actually two other things. One, if you pre-order right now, I checked on Amazon, I checked on Xbox Live. It doesn't look like it's available to pre-order now, but if you do pre-order before the game gets out, you actually get the classic look of Jill and Carlos. So that's one thing if you are anticipating this game like I am, that it'll be one thing to kind of check out if you pre-order the game. And the second thing is that Resident Evil Project Resistance, I think that's what it's called. It's a actual online multiplayer that's going to be implemented in Resident Evil 3. So it looks like in a pretty intense game mode. It looks like a little bit of Left 4 Dead type of gameplay where you have like one person as the monsters and you have the 4 other players. So it looks like it's going to be an interesting game mode. I'm interested to see the continuation, the lifespan of Resident Evil 3, because Resident Evil 2 really doesn't have too much DLC attached to it. So you're just pretty much playing the same game over and over again. But if they plan on actually adding some more online stuff, more content to Resident Evil 3, I think that's going to be helping the game live on for a lot longer. So guys, I just wanted to let you know what was kind of going on. Again, I'm super excited, cannot wait. April 3rd cannot come soon enough. I'm going to be checking my work calendar and pretty much taking that day off. But guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please have a great rest of the day, and also let me in the comments below, are you guys excited? And did you guys, you know, the people out there that are around my age, you guys ever play the 90s version of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3? Let me know in the comments below. Have a great rest of the day, guys, and I'll see you guys all next time.